And that is why we're going to be starting today with thoughtful analyst insight. And our first guest today is Brian Dobson. Brian is a managing director and senior research analyst at Clear Street, where he covers disruptive technology as part of the firm's newly launched equity research group. He brings more than 20 years of capital markets experience, having held senior equity research roles at Jefferies, Nomura, Lazard Capital Markets, and Susquehanna. Most recently, Brian has served as head of disruptive technology and SPAC equity research at Chardan Capital Markets. His work focuses on identifying investment opportunities driven by innovation across emerging technology sectors. Brian, welcome.
Great. Thanks so much. It's wonderful to be here, and thanks to the Red Chip team for putting this together. As you mentioned, I lead the Disruptive Technology Equity Research platform at Clear Street, where we specialize in blockchain assets, cryptocurrencies, DATS, Bitcoin mining, and soon space robotics, and various other companies at the vanguard of technology within the public markets. I believe that this conference matters right now more than ever because fintech and digital assets have entered a much more mature phase. However, recent market volatility is testing these new business models and creating areas of substantial potential opportunity, at least in my view. A year ago, most of the conversation about digital assets focused on their potential and what these technologies could become. But today, investors that we speak with are far more focused on a path to revenue, sustainable margins, cash flow, and disciplined capital allocation. In our research at Clear Street, we've seen a shift in how the public market behaves. Investors are moving away from rewarding optionality and moving toward rewarding execution with stronger multiples. And that shift is really the backdrop for today. One of the biggest changes that we've seen is that payments, fintech, infrastructure, and digital assets are no longer separate conversations, right? Rather, they're intermingled among the investors that we chat with. And as payments are getting faster and more programmable, infrastructure, custody, compliance, APIs, that's all becoming more standardized and scalable. And digital assets are increasingly showing up inside traditional operating models. From an investor perspective, what we believe matters now isn't whether the company has fintech exposure, but rather where it sits in the stack and how directly that position turns into revenue and operating leverage over the next several years. Across our coverage universe, companies that tend to hold up the best in market conditions such as these are ones where the business model is doing more of the work than the balance sheet, right? Which brings me to what we're seeing in digital asset treasury companies right now. I mean, certainly it's no secret that the sector has been under pressure. Many DAT-focused companies today are trading at meaningful discounts to the reported MNAVs, and that's been painful for investors and those management teams. But what we actually think is that it's creating an important reset and potential opportunity. What we're seeing is not these companies really abandoning their digital assets, but rather the management teams are getting more practical about capital allocation. And in some cases, that means trimming their crypto positions and redeploying capital into operating businesses. This is something that I think we're going to see more of over the next 9 months. And it's not because they're bearish on digital assets, but rather because the returns are clearer and the earnings are more visible within operating businesses associated with digital assets. And the equity story becomes easier for the market to digest and reward a multiple for. One thing that the market's been very consistent about in our research is that investors reward companies that can clearly show a path from assets to earnings, right? And what's especially interesting is where the capital is being redeployed. In many cases, it's moving into payments, financial services, or tokenization strategies. Areas where digital assets support the business rather than totally define it. For some DAT companies, this seems more like an evolution into tangential businesses from just holding assets on the balance sheet into building financial services platforms that can generate recurring revenue. As you listen to company presentations today, I'd encourage you to keep a few simple questions in mind. Are the revenues recurring or largely transactional? Do unit economics improve with the scale of the company? Is capital being deployed with a clear return hurdle? Is the company's regulatory posture proactive rather than reactive? And are execution timelines specific? In our experience, companies that can answer those questions clearly are the ones that tend to earn investor confidence more quickly. Now, stepping back, we think that the next phase of fintech and digital assets is less about headlines and more about their business models. The opportunities that stand out today are the ones that convert payments and data and digital assets into durable earnings and strong balance sheets over time with sustainable margins and growth. As capital reallocates across the sector, we believe 2026 will favor companies that treat digital assets not as an endpoint, but rather as a tool in building real scalable operating businesses. And with that, I'd like to thank you very much for having me. I'm looking forward to hearing from all of these companies throughout the day and excited to see what the conference brings. Appreciate your time.